Welcome to our free training titled 90 Days to Motherhood by Fertility with Vic. This webinar will help you to accelerate your fertility journey. At the end of this webinar, you should understand the fertility journey, understand the very key to conception, understand the role of nutrition and treatment, know what your gynecologist did not tell you, know the needed changes to accelerate your fertility, know how I can help you to accelerate your fertility journey. But before we proceed, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Victoria. I am a pharmacist by training and a fertility specialist by calling. I help couples trying to conceive become joyful parents through our fertility program and resources. I am very excited to have you here. But before we go ahead, please do me a favor. Write down in the comment section where you are watching this webinar from. Wow. I can see people from Lagos, Nigeria, Abuja, Ibadan. I can see someone from Canada, from US, from Chicago, in US too. Oh, okay. Thank you for watching. So let's go straight to the point. The very foundation to parenthood is understanding the fertility journey. It is understanding the various factors that contribute to the fertility journey that helps trying to conceive couples. While most people may not need to necessarily understand it because they do not have issues getting pregnant, most trying to conceive will need to understand it to accelerate their fertility journey. The journey should not be based on trials and errors in the real sense of it. Understanding few specific steps in the right order is all that's needed to accelerate your conception. Once you discover the specific steps and the right pathway, it will change the story for you. It will point you in the right direction. It will change the way you see your nutrition, body, and even the way you manage your relationship with your partner in the journey. Probably, you've been trying to conceive for years now, and you wonder how it had delayed for so long. Maybe when you got married, you entered the marriage with so much enthusiasm, yet the journey seems to affect you. It takes tears from your eyes every day. Maybe you even got married as a virgin, and you expect everything to go as natural as it, but here you are, shocked that you are having this delay that should not happen. Or maybe it has even affected your sexual relationship with your spouse, and you just go to the point where sex with your partner has just become mature with nothing to desire. Or maybe your case is just different. You just feel lonely and tired of the fertility journey, and you just wish it can end in those two positive lines in the shortest possible time. Sometimes the issue is that you feel down because you can't find anyone to share your burden with. I want you to know I have walked in your shoes before. It sometimes really feels frustrating, and it feels like one is working hard at something but not getting the results one wants. It can feel like you have the world on your shoulder and everyone is looking at you, judging you for the slightest action. It can feel like you have mixed feelings. Sometimes you are happy and sad when close friends, younger siblings, and even people you feel are too wayward get pregnant, and you wonder how yours has delayed. It can really be an overwhelming journey. On top of all that, the environment just will not cooperate. From being the main prayer point at family meetings or functions, to family members annoying enquiries, to unsolicited advice from apropos colleagues, to sad comments from church members, it really can be a roller coaster of emotions. Or maybe you have tried a few things that did not work out, and now you are not just sure of what to do next. or you spend so much and there is no result to show for it, leaving you feel insecure and questioning your actions and efforts. Altogether, it can leave you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, and desperate. And part of the problem is that there is little information out there on the right path to getting pregnant. Yet, there are so many voices, so many directions that in itself can be frustrating and confusing. If any of this sounds like you, then I want you to know I can completely relate. Let me tell you about my own journey. My name is Victoria, a young and beautiful woman that hails from Nigeria in West Africa. I am a pharmacist by training and a fertility specialist by calling. Growing up was beautiful for me as a young, vibrant kid with lovely parents and people around me. I had great dreams and aspirations and could not wait to grow up, pluck money from the tree, and live happily ever after with a rich husband. You know every little girl's dream, right? While I kept going into my teenage years, I noticed some changes were occurring in me and some features of womanhood had begun to show. Well, except one. I am sure you can guess what it is. It was my period. My mom had begun to ask me several questions from like age 12, 13 about menses. As a young child, I did not understand what she was saying, but as I grew older, it became a cause for concern for my mom. She took me to the doctor and I was certified okay, but she still wondered why at the age of 15 I had not had my menarche. I still remember how disturbed she felt leaving the doctor's office. Fast forward to a few days to my 16th birthday, I noticed a bearish stain on my pants and I spoke to my mom about it. Before the end of the day, I knew I needed to get a sanitary pad. Alas, at age 16, I had my first menstruation. I will later come to learn in life that having a late menarche could mean something scary when it comes to fertility in the future. As the years went by, especially in my early years, my menstruation was coming as regular as it can in a 30-day cycle, but it was usually painful. I usually hated those periods as I often had every flow. I did not like it to the extent that I wished I did not even menstruate again. Luckily and unluckily for me, my menstruation became irregular. So I'll be so happy when it did not come and be angry when it comes. I spoke with my mom about it and she was always concerned. She asked me about it almost every month. I usually will give her the same answer of no show, but sometimes I just say anything to cover up the conversation. I never knew it was going to have any impact on me in the future. My mom took me to another doctor and ran some tests and he said I was having hormone imbalance. The doctor's advice was just for me to get married early. I was just about 19 years at this time. He also gave me a combined contraceptive combination theory, hoping it will help regulate my period. Now in retrospect, as a pharmacist and a fertility specialist, I have come to realize that contraceptives rather had more problem than really solve it. So whenever I was on the contraceptive, I was having regular periods. But whenever I did not, the period stopped. Fast forward to about 6 years later, I still had the same issue. I would be among my friends and they would talk about how their menstruation was affecting their mood. I was less bothered because I could not relate. I was not scared to be staying at any moment because there was no regular period. I discussed the issue with my fiance and I hoped that he won't have to leave me because of the possible future implication when it comes to giving birth. Thank God he did not. He said if we believe, all things were possible. 3 years later, I got married and the night prior to our wedding day, I had my period. I had traveled 2 days prior to that day for over 12 hours and I could say that the stress of the journey was enough to trigger it. I was happy although I was preparing for my wedding and I was on my period. I thought about it that since the hubs was going to wait till after the period for consummation or for shag, as some may say it. We had a beautiful honeymoon anyway. Could not have sex that wedding night because we were tired primarily and because of my period. Days after that, we tried and tried till we were able to start copulation as couples. Before we got married, we had agreed to wait at least a year before we considered children. And because of this, we tried to have unprotected sex on days we roughly calculated to be safe, and tried protected sex few times during our safe period. But sometimes our libido took over our desire for protection, especially during the most fertile period for me. We became concerned when we did not see the consequences of our coital acts. We knew we needed to ditch the idea of waiting till a year to begin trying. Well, shebi we wanted to enjoy ourselves before kids came. We did, until we started feeling the strain. After about the second month into the marriage, the period was not coming again, yet the test strip was only showing one line. Since we were still young in marriage, the disturbance was not so much. We were less bothered, although we kept praying. My dad would call to ask about me and gently tease me about children, and I would smile. You know how it's when parents don't want to say something directly. As months went by, I started getting worried. I could not think of even discussing it with anyone, especially my female friends. I prayed, I cried, I wailed. Well, my neighbor was there to always encourage me. Most times, I only had my husband to talk to. As I prayed and cried, I decided to add another leg to it. I began doing a lot of research, getting knowledge where it concerns fertility. I read a lot. I did some more investigations and research, trying to just get direction for the next step. In the midst of all this, sometimes I would get so overwhelmed that I pour all my frustration on Leobs. At a point, I even told him that maybe he was not man enough to impregnate me. Well, thank God he did not take that to heart. He understood my vulnerability and frustration at the time. As months went by, I began to put to use some of my research findings. I began to track my temperature every morning. I was using a fertility app. Leos ensured I did the temperature tracking same time every day. I ensured that when I noticed a spike in temperature for like 2 days, we did shag. Yet everything was not resulting in the 2 lies I was expecting. I got some medication that will help balance my hormones, although they may take a long time. I got ovulation test kits and kept on doing trials and error. Month after month, I kept on seeing single lines on the stick. I tried to seek medical treatment also. I traveled for about 4 hours to see a gynecologist. When I met her, she asked all the probing questions and finalized that I was still young in marriage, that I should not bother myself getting worried about pregnancy. I wish I did not listen to her, but you guessed right, I did. I waited another 6 months without considering there was any issue. Sex with my husband at this time had become mechanical, with only one goal: to get pregnant. Sometimes we did it every day in a row, hoping the number of times we can't for something. It did not. The pleasure from the intimacy had gradually left. In my book, Get Pregnant in 90 Days, I highlighted that normally you will need to wait between 6 months and 1 year before thinking there is any issue about fertility. But for someone who had had some challenges with anything that could normally have impact on their fertility, such as irregular cycle, painful menstruation, making discharge from the breast, such person should not wait till those time period. As I continued my journey month after month as a young wife, my periods became more absent, yet without conception. I became so worried, more worried. I returned to my gynecologist, and she gave me a drug to jumpstart period and to follow my cycle. Well, the first period came and we counted the day 14, used the ovulation test strip, did what we were expected to do, and then hoped for the 2 lines to appear. Well, the strip only showed a single line. I was frustrated once again, back to where I started from. I tried several other doctors and treatment options, yet they did not work. Most of the doctors I had met, even other gynecologists, were either doing guesswork or using outdated methods. They failed to do the necessary investigations to ascertain the issue. One thing was clear: I needed help. I finally met a fertility specialist that helped me when I was tired of everything. He obviously knew what he was doing. I did all the required investigations and my research began to make sense. The course of my fertility journey took a better shape. That's how the next phase of my journey to motherhood started. My fertility journey got the direction and acceleration it needed. I did all the required tests and treatments and God crowned our efforts. I am now a parent. As soon as I began treatment, I began to observe so many people who had the same or similar issues as mine, and I knew God had sent me to help them. There are so many things I have learned in my journey. With my background as a pharmacist and my focus on fertility, I have used this learning to help many of my friends and clients, and they are now joyful parents of children. I won't be surprised if your story looks just like mine. I won't be surprised if your story looks just like mine. So, what changed for me? I equipped myself on fertility and got to ask the right questions about fertility itself. So let's talk about fertility journey itself. The journey to parenthood can be surprisingly different for several couples. Sometimes it's just straight to the point without several tries, and sometimes it may just be a long road to joy filled with some overwhelming moments. Achieving a healthy pregnancy is a complicated, multi-stage process involving two people. Every month, the woman ovulates at least one mature egg from her ovaries. The egg leaves the fallopian tube. Every month, the woman ovulates at least one mature egg from her ovary. The egg leaves the ovarian follicle and is captured in the end of the fallopian tube. Here, it will begin to move slowly down the tube towards the womb. However, for a pregnancy to develop, it must first meet sperm from the male while it is still held in the fallopian tube. The sperm leaves the man's penis by ejaculation and are deposited in the vagina high up near the cervix. The sperm immediately begins swimming, and some will find their way into the cervix. The sperm finally gets near the egg and pushed towards the shell. Many sperm cells will bind to this shell, but only one sperm will be allowed to go all the way through to reach the egg inside. Sperm can survive 3 to 5 days in the female's reproductive system. Hence, a sperm ejaculated during intercourse on Monday could fertilize an egg ovulated on Tuesday, Wednesday, and even on Friday. Once the sperm has gained entry to the egg, a complex chain of events occurs over a period of about 16 hours. The egg can now be called a fertilized embryo and would normally be at this stage 1 day after ovulation. So what causes the infertility? I rather choose to call it delayed conception because that is it. I really do not like the word infertility. So what causes delayed conception? Anything that disrupts the process I just described above. Well, let me touch one more factor that could affect the process. Age. Age is one of the many contributing factors that could disrupt the fertility process. The primary reason women struggle to get pregnant as they get older is that the quantity and the quality of a woman's egg or ovarian reserve decrease over time. Age is also a factor for men since sperm count decline over time. However, men can have issues with sperm count, shape, and motility at an early age. In fact, fertility issues are related to men and also as they are to women, which is why it is important for both partners to take the journey together and to do the necessary tests together. No wonder delayed conception is described as the inability to conceive within 12 months of regular unprotected intercourse for females less than 35 years and 6 months of regular unprotected intercourse for females older than 35 years of age. While age is a factor, many women in their 40s and 50s have gone to be joyful parents, so age in itself is not a barrier. Let's look at some common factors that could affect conception. For women, ovulatory problems are very common. That is, the eggs not being released during ovulation. Also, we have sexually transmitted infections. We also have some medical conditions such as PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. We have endometriosis, we have blood tubes, and we have bad eggs. Let's look at this graph that shows causes of female infertility. According to this graph, we have 15% of unexplained infertility. We have 40% for ovulatory disorder. We have 40% for tubular factors, and we have uterine factor of 5%. Then if you go further, you can see PCOS, 85% for PCOS, and unexplained infertility, that's for others, 15%. For men, we have conditions that affect quality and quantity of their sperm, which also affect their fertility, such as low sperm counts, sperm morphology issues, male tube blockage, and sperm motility problems. So what's the exact key to conception? Understanding ovulation is the key to conception. The bottom line is that all couples want to know when is the best time to have sex in order to get pregnant. From the egg's perspective, there is only a 12 to 24-hour period when a woman can conceive. So, how do you know when your window of conception is? The answer lies around ovulation. By understanding your ovulation cycle, you can target the optimal time frame for conception. To begin, let's nail down what we mean by ovulation. Ovulation is the point when an egg is released from the ovary so that it may travel down the fallopian tube and become fertilized by a waiting sperm. During ovulation, the lining of the uterine wall thickens so that a fertilized egg can become implanted and continue the pregnancy. Most people believe with absolute certainty that ovulation occurs exactly 14 days before your period, regardless of the woman or her cycle. From recent studies, that belief is just wrong. The studies shows that ovulation rarely occurs 14 days before a woman's next period. In a study of 696 cycles, the summary shows that only a small percentage of women ovulate exactly 14 days before the onset of their period. This is true even for women whose cycles are usually 28 days long. Among the 696 cycles in this study, ovulation occurred 14 days before the next period in only 10%. That is just 69 women. Time from ovulation to next menses range from 7 to 19 days, which is the 10 to 22 of the menstrual cycle for other women. Many couples could be missing critical opportunities for conception each month. For some, the added stress and the frustration of months of unsuccessful attempts could be due in part to this first day 14 rule. Understanding the fertile phase of your cycle will help you maximize your ovulation. The fertile phase for most women occurs during the 16 days between day 6 and day 21 of the cycle. Ovulation varies from woman to woman and even cycle to cycle. However, the biological changes that occur during ovulation are fairly consistent for each other. Let's look at primary symptoms of ovulation. Primary symptoms of ovulation include change in cervical mucus. The cervical mucus becomes more slippery. Then we have a spike in basal body temperature. There is a change in cervical position or firmness too. Then for the secondary symptoms of ovulation, we have light spotting, we have cramping, pain on one side, bloating, breast tenderness, and increased libido. Some causes that lead to absence of ovulation. Absence of ovulation could result due to a lot of things. One of them is that the eggs did not grow to the point where it can be released for fertilization due to hormonal insufficiency. So the ovulation process discontinues and conception cannot happen. Let's look at the role of nutrition in the conception journey. Healthy nutrition is linked to fertility for both men and women. Therefore, it is important you both eat well balanced meals. It is an investment in both you and your fertility. Research is affirming what nutritionists believed. Our body reacts negatively to the chunks that get put into it and works better when given what it is needed. With fertility-enhancing foods, supplements, and practices that eliminate harmful foods such as caffeine and drinks, you can be sure to be on a faster conception journey. So, why did I tell you all this? Why did I tell you my story? Simple. I want to help you accelerate your motherhood journey. Most doctors and gynecologists I had met in my journey wanted me to just continue my waiting game by not providing me with the information about the exact thing I was dealing with. I knew I needed more details. That was why I invested my resources in research. You may have experienced this too, but surely knowing your condition helps you address it well. The journey is already long and there is no need to prolong it. At least you will get enough knowledge about it. So, how can you accelerate your journey to motherhood? By knowing well about your condition and getting help along your fertility journey. I have been helping several people understand the factors impacting their fertility journey, and I have been taking them through our fertility program to help them figure out the gaps in their fertility journey and how to address it, and God has been crowning our efforts. I thought to extend this help to others. I believe today is a lucky day. So, I want to help you too. And here is how I can help you. I have a program to help try to conceive couples. It is called Get Pregnant in 90 Days Fertility Program. A program that helps you to accelerate your fertility journey and consequently help you achieve conception in 90 days. In this program, I will guide you by using a proven and predictive system. I will focus on accelerating your transition into parenthood, and this program is based on proven results that I have used on myself and other clients. This is it, 90 Days Fertility Treatment Program. You may wonder who needs this program. It is for anyone who has been trying to conceive for a while now and needs to accelerate the process. I want you to know I have been where you are, and I am now a parent. I have helped several couples change their story. Let me help you too. So, what's the investment for this program? It is just 50,000 naira, $150. But because you are here now, I have an offer for you for a discounted price just for the next 72 hours. You can be a part of this program with just 45,000 naira, $120. This program in itself worth about 750,000 naira, and I'm giving you for 45,000 naira if you make payments between now and the next 72 hours. These are testimonials from our clients. Let me read from Mrs. O. She says, after several unsuccessful attempts at becoming pregnant, I was fed up. I had a friend encourage me not to give up. I got this book to understand my parenthood journey better and take better steps to extend my conception. It did not disappoint me. With this book and the 90 Days Fertility Program with FertilitywithVic, one successful cycle of the program was all it took to change our lives. We are now joyful parents. Well, you have two options going forward. The first option is to do nothing. That is, go back to what you are doing before. Keep beating yourself and getting angry. A lot of times this may keep you in the same spot and you may well not accelerate your journey. The second option is to choose to make the small investment into yourself and your future today, compared to the value that you will get in return, and just give it a shot. See what another client said about this program. She said, this program was a life-changing experience for me. Vicky had been my friend for a while, but I never thought she could help me on this journey. But once she spoke to me about it, I agreed to do it and ensured I followed everything she told me to do. Oh my God, my story changed in less than 30 days, and I will be carrying my baby in a few months' time. I am very grateful to God for the timely intervention through Vicky. In addition to this program, I also have an ebook titled Get Pregnant in 90 Days, a guide to getting pregnant fast for trying to conceive couples. This book is just 4,500 naira. For participants who will pay for our program, they get this book as a part of the package, so they don't have to pay for this book again. One of the things you don't want to do is to delay your journey any further. I am only taking 10 people for this section, and in the next 72 hours, this discounted offer won't be up. So, what will happen if you choose to ignore this opportunity? You will likely prolong your fertility journey. You will likely keep stressing yourself unnecessarily, and you will likely keep moving in cycles. See what awaits you. A gift just for you, a precious gift just for you. Oh, if you are still skeptical, you may just think about it again. It's all in your hands. You can choose to use 45,000 naira to register, or to use it to buy clothes, wigs, and other things that could easily fade away. But trust me, children are usually better wrappers than clothes. If you want to accelerate your fertility journey, register using the link showing now, or click on www.seller.co/fertilitywithvic to make payments. At this point, I believe you've gotten value for your time. Thank you for joining this section. You may want to reach us on Instagram at fertilitywithvic, or you may want to send us an email on fertilitywithvic@gmail.com. Please share this video with family and friends. You may just be helping another family. Thank you. But before I go, I'd like to share this quote with you by Carista Lumeni Rosen, which says, "Parenting begins the moment you make any conscious effort to care for your own health in preparation for enhancing your child's conception." Thank you.